Hey guys, HarplyGame'N's here, and we are here with a brand new game that we are going to explore. Splatoon 3. Today we are going to be redesigning my Inkling, and we are going to be testing out some crazy weapons on this game. If you don't know what Splatoon 3, if you don't know what Splatoon 3 is, or like what the Splatoon series is, it's about these creatures. It's basically an upgraded paintball game with different variations of weapons, game modes, and you embody a character known as an Inkling, which can swim through the ink that you splash on the walls and transfer across the maps. It has some very interesting game modes, and I'm very excited to be showing you guys how I'd have fun with this game. So today we are going to, I got my controller here, and we are going to be clicking start. Okay, here is my, let's reset the camera. Hold on. Oh yeah, I forgot that there is, like, hair sensitivity, but like, yep, here's my Inkling. I can't really, you can't change the hairstyle, but you can change like the clothing style of it. Don't have much variations at the moment, but I feel like since it's springtime right now, I feel like this t-shirt would be the most fitting. In shoes, not really sure where to go with those. Yeah, I think those could fit well. So yeah, like, and also like my character, you don't really choose the color of your Inkling. It is mostly just pre-decided for you, like, as though they don't really show any significance. But yeah, I feel like the yellow works well. Headgear pieces, we're thinking like springtime. Actually, I think these pods would be really good. I feel like these AirPods would be really good for the character with these many different weapons. So there's controls such as controls amiibo. Oh, you can actually change the hairstyles. Since when? Okay. So apparently this was a thing. But you know, I think I might stick with the hairstyle I have right now. You can change the hairstyles and the leg wear. Seems good for spring. And we have different emotions for, we have different animations for different winnings. Yeah, I feel like I like this one. So here are the weapons I have. Splat Charger, Splat Roller, which is like a melee close range weapon. Which is, looks like an airsoft weapon. Octobrush, which is another melee weapon. Splatter Shot Pro. The Splatter Shot. Tintatech Splatter Shot Nova, Splatter Shot Pro, and a Heavy Splatlight. Usual Splatter Shot. I feel like that seems like a pretty good. Okay, so yep, we will be here. Here's my Inkling. We are here in Splatsville, which is the main hub of and like location of where we play the game. Okay, and how we're going to be testing these is we're going to be going on recon, and there's these different modes, but Turf War is the usual, and we can select the stage that we want to explore. I don't really know which one I could do. I feel like what I remember is that like Urchin Underpass is a classic one from the original Splatoon game, so I feel like it'll be best to start there. And I think this is where we can test out our different weapons. Okay, so this is how you launch. Yeah, you aim yourself. Okay. Also, like, an important thing to note for people who don't usually play this is that you see this package on the back of my character. It is a, well, this isn't a usual, this is just practice, but in a usual game, this will empty the more you splat, because it's like the fuel that you have and the ammunition that you have in your splat weapon. Even including like melee and close range weapons. Um, and you would have to press ZL, or which is the back left. Enter this. You can see that, as you can see, I can swim around, which is actually a lot more quicker than walking, which is why it's important to like splat to where you want to go and create a pathway to quickly move around. And you see the gauge is visible. There are certain walls and surfaces that you can't do it, such as metal, glass, and yeah, like construction walls. There are like certain areas. Oh yeah, and that does remind me. But before we get into this like supercharged state, like let's just remember that while I swim through here, this will like show that my gauge is filling up more and more, and and you see the line right there, that like shows how I'm able to use, because there is a secondary weapon that goes with each weapon that you choose, and the secondary weapon cannot be edited. It's just a extra thing, but you can throw it, and you see that's the classic splat, like sort of splat bomb. This shows the trajectory of it, and if anything obstructs it, then it'll such as if there's anything that's in the air, such as another splat bomb that obstructs it, it will like hit off of it. But as you see, that's like one of the multiple things. But there are many different weapons than just like there are many secondary weapons that are not necessarily like straight up weapons, where you place like this station, and it can allow you and the other three people, because like it's most popularly used in here, that like it's a team of 4 versus 4. That's like the how turf war works, the most popular game mode. And you can place down this little area where you and your 3 teammates can grab a certain like sort of condiment, improves like a certain trait about your character for a limited period, sort of like a, yeah, it's sort of like a boost, a temporary boost for your character's like physical traits. So yes, as you see here, I can throw that, but also along with the along with the first along with the okay, along with the first weapon and the second weapon, in the secondary weapon, there's also a special design tied to your main weapon. Carl. So directly tied to your first and secondary weapons, there is also a special attack that is tied to that first weapon. And as you can see in the corner, it says, it's reminding me to press down on the right control stick, which controls my camera. Okay, and this one has the twister, which has 3, and it seems to have 3 super powerful bombs. As you can see, it naturally flies up, but if I throw a bomb and try to use it again, it will say I need a certain point in there to actually use the secondary weapon. Oh, and you can also use the ink states to get past barriers such as metal grates and other sort of obstructions. And yeah, there are also other maps. I feel like I will have to have some time to, I will need some time to, oh yes, and there's also, during Turf War, which is the game mode that I'm in right now, if there are other teammates on the field, you can actually use this to teleport to their direct location, skipping like the So let's say I got splatted by an enemy player and I had to go back into that box that I was in the beginning. I can click and then travel right to my teammates and join back in the fight instead of having to move all the way back. A new trick that was introduced in Splatoon 3, which you can use while you're swimming up walls like you were able to in other things. You can also do this, which is a B, and it boosts you up, allowing for you to get surprise attacks. So this is a very tactical, this is a, well, specifically turf war, but also in certain other game modes there is a tactical aspect to it where you have to try to work up around the strategies that other teams try to use against you. And also it is like sort of just like knowing the ins and outs of maps and the right places to execute your special attacks and certain stuff like that all goes into becoming a good and masterful player at this game. Bing. And it seems that like I am allowed to play this game mode for a hour for an hour tops, or this map specifically, as they so that way in case if I go away from the game while it is playing, I will be exiting the game so it probably helps with rendering issues. And also I don't believe I've covered this yet, but also the main objective of turf war is not to eliminate your teammates, as I've told you that like in turf war you're allowed to respawn and join your other teammates when after you get hit by an enemy player. So, but the main objective of turf war is not to eliminate your opponent, it's to actually cover the larger percentage of the map in ink, as this game has a software to examine the map and into a 100% like percentage of like all the surfaces, and then it'll like and then it calculates how much is uncovered, how much your team covered, and how much the other team covered. If your team has more covering, has more covered over the than the other team, then you win. If the other team does it, they win. So yeah, after that's like out of the way, there's also your opponent team also has the goal of covering the team with their ink, as I just mentioned. But like the what's also like worth noting is that you can't swim in the other team's ink, as both teams have two different colors of ink for them to use. Till you can use your ink to create a surface below you because you can paint over the other team's ink. So yeah, that's basically the premise of turf war. Use the weapons to slow down the progress of other enemies by fighting them, and also covering as much of the world in ink as possible. I haven't played. Wouldn't say this is exactly a primary game of mine. Oh, that's cool. You can see the outdoors, but I still think it is a really fun game that I am excited to do, as it requires lots of. Oh yeah, and you can also jump through, and it seems like that you don't need. It doesn't necessarily need to go through your. It doesn't really seem like it needs to go through. You have to swim through the ink to swim under them. Your ink form can just jump and go through them like pie, easy as pie. But yeah, I feel like this game does have lots of variation, and it does offer lots of switching ups, as like it does have the potential to introduce new game modes alongside turf war, and I could explain those in maybe a little bit. A secondary weapon designed and indirectly tied to your main weapon. Go, 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 go on, go on, go on. But don't worry, there's still a lot more to show.